Hi, I'm an artist, and recently I found another free painting app to try, and it's called kleki. So I found this one when browsing on Google trying to find some free art programs to try. And at first I didn't have much hope as it looked quite bare bone, but after some digging around, I was pleasantly surprised. Like, yes, it is simple, but there are almost everything you need to paint. Like, you can customize brushes, and there's layers, and even some editing stuff like perspective or color adjusting like hue or curve. And the shortcuts are also quite nice, like you can hold space and drag your pen to move, like this is something I really like because it is the same in Krita. Hold that and drag left or right to zoom in or out, or and tap your pen to pick colors, and for me these technically are pretty much all I need to paint. So I was pretty excited to try it out, and today we will study this glass bottle to see how well this art program will perform. Yeah. So first, I began with sketching out the shape, and here I encountered the first hurdle because I am not good at drawing symmetrical things, as you may know, and there was no way to view the mirrored version to check for that. Like, I tried pressing M, yes, that did nothing. And after that, I did found a workaround that allowed me to see the mirrored version, but honestly, this was so much work that I just decided to try to eyeball the proportion instead. Yeah. Then next, I wanted to move the sketch around a little bit, and this was pretty weird, as after I selected the sketch, which you can do with L by the way, I couldn't grab and move it right away on the canvas. Instead, I had to click on the transform button on the right, only then I was able to move the thing the way I wanted to. And another weird thing was that I couldn't resize the selected part, like drag the corner to make it smaller or larger, like normally you could do with a lot of other programs. Maybe there was some workarounds and stuff, but at this point I didn't really bother and I just wanted to move on to the painting step already. But before that, as always, I pick out a color palette to prepare for the actual painting part. And this one went fine because I'm quite familiar with this kind of color square box thingy. And the next step was blocking out the basic shape of the glass bottle. And this was a soul-crushing moment because, just look at it. I don't know, it was just pathetic and sad. Past me felt quite depressed looking at it then, and present me still feels the same depression looking at it now. Oh my god, it was so bad to the point that I started to question myself. Like, I was confident I could paint with all the tones present here, like the ability to quickly pick colors, brushes that could adjust opacity with pen pressure. Like, what more do I need? Was I wrong? Did I forget how to paint? Was all my painting skills I have accumulated until now was just a dream? Like, was studying painting for the last whole year was just for nothing? Do I still know how to paint anymore? Like, am I still an artist? Am I still even me? As past me was spiraling down an existential crisis hole, let's talk a little bit more about the brush, and I wanted to do a comparison to brushes from another painting program you can use on browsers, Heavy Paint. Well, on Heavy Paint, there are a lot of different brushes, and they are a lot more advanced. Like, there are many things you can customize there, and that, honestly, can be a little bit overwhelming. Like, you may need some time to get used to that. On the other hand though, Kleki's brushes are really simple and intuitive. Like, there are a few brush options you can try here, and within each option, there are a few more things you could customize. Here I will focus mostly on the first brush because that was the one I mainly used in the study. Like, for this one, you can toggle pen pressure sensitivity on size and opacity. In simpler words, for anyone who might not be familiar, you can make your line big or small, light or dark, depending on how hard you press your pen. And there is scatter, which means you can do some sprinkle effect like this when dragging it to 100. And a few more brush tips you can choose from, like circle, oval or square. The default one is circle. So yeah, the most important one for me here is the opacity pen pressure thingy, as it is the core to my blending technique, along with the color picking tool. And like, I just need to pick one color, paint lightly over another color pick the overlapped area and paint again, like bare minimum. I just need those two things to paint. And here I had access to those two things, and why did it turn out like this? Like at that point I was so close on the verge of giving up halfway, but as you may notice, this video is still able to see the light of day, so I didn't. Why? Because I found the reason why this thing happened. It was the side paint pressure sensitivity thing is. Yeah, the thing that allows you to paint big or small lines with how hard you press the pen. Because of that, the width of my brush strokes was so unpredictable, and I couldn't place the pen exactly where I needed it to be. And it made me redo a ton of time, and also very frustrated. So I turned it off in a desperate moment, and everything was nice and under control again. And it felt so nice when finally everything was right again. And to be honest, in hindsight, like after I was able to calm down and think straight, this makes so much sense. Like this is how my favorite brush in Krita works, like the charcoal one. Like only paint pressure with opacity and not size. Like this is the way I has been painting for basically forever at this point. So that's the reason why throwing one different thing in there and it's messed me up so catastrophically bad like that. So yeah, a new day, a new thing to learn about myself, I guess. Anyway, after that, everything was relatively smooth sailing again, especially when you compare it to the first half of the study. But if there is one thing I could suggest to make things even smoother than this, it might be a shortcut to quickly change the size of the brush when I need to. Like, don't get me wrong, there are shortcuts for that in the program, but they are not very convenient because they are these keys, and I don't know what they are called in English, but they are here on the keyboard, and almost all the time when painting, my hand is over here. So that is rather awkward to use. And what I want to recommend is similar to something that already exists in here. Like remember, you can hold that and drag your pen left or right to zoom in and out. How about doing the same thing? Like hold some convenient key and drag to change the brush size. Like it will 100% make the painting process a lot quicker and more fluid, I swear. So yeah, that is my recommendation, and hopefully it is something that can be added to the program because I think it will improve the painting process by a lot. Okay, as we are approaching the end of the study, I will say some of my final thoughts about the program here. So overall, I think it is an okay painting program. Like aside from a few hiccups here and there, like the biggest one here was on me and not on the program, I think it can be a pretty solid option for anyone who wants a lightweight and basic painting program. Like you can just run it on your browser, you know. And if anything, I think it is a lot more pleasant to use than Microsoft Paint and a lot less intimidating than something like Heavy Paint. So I think it can hit some sweet spots for some people. But unfortunately, there isn't a time-lapse recording feature in here yet, because I think it is something that I do want to add in the future, so maybe we just have to wait. So yeah, that is my thought regarding the program. About the study itself though, well, if I'm being really honest, this is, well, not one of my most favorite study. Like, the texture is a tiny bit too smooth to my liking, even though I did try to remedy that by manually adding some squiggle lines here and there, but still it's not enough. And the value is also a little bit weird. And the shape also turns out to be a tiny bit wonkier and chunkier than I expected. Well, the wonky part is expected as I couldn't see the mirrored version to check, but the chunky part, well, that frankly did took me off guard a little bit. But when considering I literally went through an existential crisis while studying this one, I would say that it is not bad. I am at least 80% satisfied. So yeah, with that, let's check out the result, shall we?